right, let me get something straight. So you track your revenue, your team's outputs, your losses, your profits, obviously, your close rates, everything for the business. You probably even track how many calories that you're burning every single day with your Apple Watch or whatever other fitness tracker. You're tracking all of these things, but I'd bet serious money that you have no idea what your VO2 max is. And it's one of the most powerful predictors of how long you'll live, true longevity, and how you'll perform and how long you can consistently perform for. So today's video is very simple, talking about VO2 max, what it actually is, and why it's one of the strongest predictors for longevity, and why it's one of the most important performance metrics to track as a CEO or executive. So many people have no idea what your VO2 max is, right? Like I said, maybe you have an Apple Watch, you've seen VO2 max before, but you just scrolled right past it, right? You didn't think too much of it. And that's because the traditional fitness industry doesn't really focus on it, right? Not too much of an emphasis because it's not very sexy. It's not aesthetic, right? So the fitness industry doesn't focus on it, but neither does the medical industry, right? Because it's not a disease marker. So it kind of just lives in that gap. No one really knows what it is. No one really focuses on it, but the CEOs out there who don't focus on it, this is why your performance is lacking without you even knowing it. So first off, let's talk about what your VO2 max actually is, right? It's basically explained as your body's ability to uptake and efficiently and effectively push healthy blood cells and oxygen throughout your body and brain, right? And the common myth when it comes to VO2 max is that it's just for endurance athletes. That's the only demographic that should be focusing on their VO2 max, which is untrue. Yes, it is for endurance athletes. Yes, with a higher VO2 max, that means you can run for longer, right? So yes, it's very important for endurance athletes, but it's also important for everybody, especially high performers that want to perform physically as well as mentally, right? Your VO2 max, increasing it, that's just basically giving you a bigger engine. Let's say there are two entrepreneurs, two CEOs. Maybe they're twins, right? The same exact physique, the same exact lifestyle, same exact age, weight, height, whatever, right? But one has a higher VO2 max than the other. That just means he can perform for longer. He has more energy. He can produce more output, and that shows up everywhere. And so again, it's not just important for endurance athletes. That's just the demographic that focuses on it most, right? But again, it's so important for everybody, like I said, especially high performers, CEOs, business owners who want to perform mentally and physically. But let's talk about why it's one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful predictor of how long you'll live and your longevity. And that's because your VO2 max number is a reflection of how healthy your body is, how healthy your muscles, lungs, heart, how healthy everything is, and again, how effective it's moving the things around that needs to be pushed around. Again, the healthy blood cells, the oxygenated blood. This is what that VO2 max number is telling you, right? And an interesting stat is that your aerobic capacity, your cardiorespiratory fitness, it declines by 10% every single decade after the age of 30 years old, right? And that just naturally is a natural decline if you aren't training properly, right? If you're doing nothing, you're over the age of 30, again, every decade, it's going to decrease relatively fast. And with that decline goes your energy, right? Your performance. Brain fog increases. You can't think as clearly. You can't execute as sharply, mentally and physically, right? And so on the other side of that, every single increase in unit of VO2 max equals a significant reduction in all-cause mortality. Again, it's a strong predictor of how long you are going to live. Not just perform. I know I say that a lot in this video, but seriously, as long as you are going to live. That's what your VO2 max is also saying. It's not just a physical metric that's going to help you perform and live longer physically, right? It helps so much mentally. Your brain needs oxygen too. A higher VO2 max, that means your body is more effective at pushing and moving that blood flow around, getting it where it needs to go under load, not just to your body, not just to your muscles physically, but also to your brain. So when you're at work, you're in the board meeting, right? And you're not thinking as sharply as you want to be, as you used to, right? Check your VO2 max. See the difference between 10 years ago compared to now. Is there a decline? Is there a decrease? Because if so, that is exactly the reason why you aren't feeling as mentally sharp. And that's because, again, the higher aerobic capacity equals better decisions, more oxygen pushed to the brain. And so this is why I'm making such of an emphasis on VO2 max improvements for CEOs. Like I said in the beginning, the endurance athletes, they are the ones who have focused on it most for decades probably now, right? But CEOs and executives, these are the ones that need to be focusing not just on going to the gym, not just eating the right foods, eating enough protein, getting enough sleep, right? But real performance metrics, including especially VO2 max. And so what is a good VO2 max, right? I've been saying you want to have a higher VO2 max, the higher the better. A little bit comes down to individuality, right? It's going to vary from person to person, but of course there are generic and good ranges depending on your age. But if you're out there, you're 40 years old, maybe a little bit older, maybe a little bit younger, but close to that 40-year-old range, the range for a good VO2 max is between 40 and 45 milliliters per kilogram of weight per minute. And you don't have to worry about what I said there, right? You just have to worry about that number, 40 to 45. That's that range that you want to be in if you are close to that 40 years old. And if you are, a little bit older, of course, as you age, that generic good VO2 max is going to decline and going to lessen a little bit. But you can tremendously slow down that decrease, that natural decline of your VO2 max, as well as so many other things, sarcopenia, osteoporosis, arthritis, all these other things, including VO2 max. You can avoid and slow those down tremendously if you have the proper health systems in place, right? Again, you're working out consistently, you're taking care of your body. That's going to help. But when you put true emphasis, that is where you get the best results. So that 40 to 45 range is great. If you're 40 years old, check your Apple Watch, check your Whoop, check whatever fitness tracker you have. It should tell you exactly what your VO2 max is if it knows you, right? If it knows your body. But most CEOs are below that, right? Maybe you're 38, 39, and that's pretty good, right? But I'd say most are at that 30 to 35 range. And that's the danger zone. That's where you are having that brain fog. You can't think as clearly as you want to. You can't execute and produce that output that you are looking mentally and physically in the boardroom, in the gym, with your kids, with your family, whatever it may be. You're not performing at the level that you want to be. And something I also wanted to bring up about this with VO2 max decline, as well as a ton of other things as you age, is I have a client right now that is 73 years old. I've done so many client testimonials and case studies with him on my Instagram. Make sure to go check those out. But I'm bringing this up because he is 73 years old and his VO2 max is 34, right? For a 70-year-old, 70 and older, the average range is about 20 to 25. And so 73 years old with a 34 VO2 max is absolutely incredible. And again, the reason I bring that up is because yes, as you age, it naturally declines, but you can slow that down tremendously with the right things in place. 73 years old, 34 VO2 max, a 42-year-old metabolic age, and that's a whole nother story to talk about. But he just proves to me every single day that age is just a number. That when you do the right things, that when you have the right mindset, anything is possible. All right. And so I hope that opens up your mind as well. Maybe you're 60, maybe you're 50 watching this and your VO2 max is pretty low. And you may be thinking, oh shit, it's too late for me. It's too late for me to try and increase it. No, it's not. All right. He's 73 years old, 10 years older than you, lapping you because he did the right things. All right. So I just told you what a good VO2 max is, but how do we actually increase it? That may be for a whole nother video, but I'll give you a little bit of sauce right here. Of course, you need to have the right diet, right? Making sure you're getting enough protein every single day, timing your carbs correctly throughout the day before and after your workouts, consuming enough fats, right? Not starving your body or depriving it from any great and necessary nutrients. Of course, you want to be going to the gym, strength training every single week. This is also another topic for another video, but it doesn't matter how many days you're going to the gym each week. If it's 3 days a week, if it's 7 days a week. Yes, maybe one single workout split is better than the other. But at the end of the day, what the best one is the one that works for you. But again, that's a whole nother video. So working out consistently every single week, having the right diet, protecting your sleep like it's the biggest asset, because that is exactly what it is, especially for those CEOs out there. And then the biggest piece for increasing your VO2 max is intentional cardio. You're already under so much stress with work and all of your responsibilities in life. And so having that structured intentional cardio is crucial if you want to avoid burning through your nervous system that is already under so much stress, right? And so the worst thing to do is add in, another HIIT workout a couple days in a row. That's the worst thing. And so the biggest piece is incorporating zone 2 cardio workouts, intentional and strategic zone 4 and zone 5 sessions, right? And that cardio piece is the biggest part for increasing that VO2 max. So like I said, a very simple video today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And again, I hope this opened up your mind to how important your VO2 max is, as well as so many other health and performance metrics that are crucial for high performance. Having your health as the core that actually allows you to perform at that highest level. So make sure you go ahead, check your Apple Watch, check whatever fitness tracker you use and wear consistently. If you don't know your number, hopefully that can tell you, right? And if you want, go over to my Instagram, DM me VO2, and we can test this number and I can tell you where to go from there, how you can start increasing it, and what to do with your current health status.